Motherfucking mini episode. Mini episode. Motherfucking mini episode.
Wop baba loo bop rock bamboo. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another phenomenal episode of My Mama Told Me,
the podcast that dives deep into the pockets of black conspiracy theories.
And we finally worked to prove the theories that you, the listener, have at home. It's a motherfucking mini episode.
Yeah, it's a little one on you, bitch ass.
Just a little tiny one,
Just
bitch.
a little tiny one.
Hit you with a tiny one, and you sitting there like, damn, dude, what do I do about that?
What do I do? I'm a big guy. I want a big one. No, not today.
I mean, I like that they give me something, but it's so little.
Yeah, well, you know what? You only get little in the late end of the week. That's how it goes. Big's for the beginning of the week. I mean, granted, yeah, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, when we're recording it is the beginning of the week, but that's our business, not yours.
You don't know where I am.
We are here to record another mini episode, and specifically, we thought it might be a good idea to return to an ongoing segment. This is now our second run at this segment, a segment that we've affectionately coined Hoteporary with Hemet. Hoteporary with Hemet, part 2. Too Hemet, Too Furious is maybe
Hemet, Tokyo Drift.
Well, that'll be our third one, and we're gonna really change the brand when we get to that one.
Little hint, sneak, little Bow Wow's in it.
Yes, little Bow Wow's in it. And we don't know it yet, but he'll come back after that many years later.
In space, for some reason, is complicated.
But one of the things that we do when we do Hoteporary with Hemet, we unpack the work of Bobby Hemmitt. Bobby Hemmitt, as our listeners may remember, is one of the more famed, maybe possibly the most famous Hotep of the internet. He is wild, he is vocal, and he has trouble breathing in a lot of his videos. And I'm a big fan. I've been watching now tens of hours of Bobby Hemmitt interviews and lectures. So I've absorbed a lot of the information, some of which I like to share with Bori and see how he feels about what's going on in the world.
I can't wait.
Great.
I can't wait.
An exciting thing that I came about in my study of Bobby Hemmitt, this was later, and I don't think we've talked about this. Bobby Hemmitt argues at one point that black people originally settled Ireland, France, Russia, and Bosnia, and Stalin did not, in fact, kill 20 million people because his nation would have turned against him, but instead he did ethnic cleansing in Russia, eliminating the remaining black population.
Okay.
Take your time, big dog.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
To unpack. Okay.
Yep. Here's
my first thing that I say to this. There seems to be no route. Does that make sense? In these places that were colonized by, it seems to be sort of haphazard.
France, Ireland to France to Russia to Bosnia. There's no footsteps we're following there.
Right. So were these just a group of exploratory? Is it is it the Moors? Is that what we're saying? Because the Moors went to Spain, but this skips over Spain and goes to France.
Yeah.
And then what were the other ones?
It was Ireland, it's France,
so then we go
Russia and Bosnia.
Okay, so Ireland and France kind of makes sense. Because it's maybe they sailed from France to Ireland, around, right? That makes sense, right?
They did a little bit of weird sailing, but there is a chance that they could at least be on a boat and have a direct line to France.
Right. But then from Ireland and France over to where?
to Russia and then Bosnia.
To Russia and then Bosnia.
I don't know that they were. I think you are presenting the option of tracing their footsteps. He did not present this as like first Ireland, then France, then blah blah blah, then blah blah blah. He's saying black people were first in all of these places and were then in various ways cleansed out of them.
Okay, I mean, I guess also why Bosnia and not Herzegovina? Just a question.
First of all, maybe Bobby Hemmitt, like me, didn't know that was a place.
That's what they call it. That's what they call it, is Bosnia and Herzegovina, right?
Well, I knew one of them. And,
all right, that's all that matters.
Not the and.
You remember, yeah, you remember the good stuff. And then also, Russia is so big.
Mm-hmm.
Is he saying that we had all of Russia?
Yes. Yeah, we were top dog in Russia, and specifically it wasn't that Stalin's sort of like, national wiping out, or not just national, but Stalin's mass murder of all of these people was not in fact what they claim it is. That is changing of history is what he says when they say that 20 million of his citizens or his people were killed. It was specifically the black population, thus now it's all white.
So, okay. So because this is how you're going to know how stupid I am.
Yeah.
Was it, thanks for the backup, big dog.
That wasn't a judgment. I just wasn't slowing you down.
The Russian Revolution with Stalin was an overthrow of the monarchy, right?
Frankly, I don't know a lot about Russian history to be able to say.
But it's like the Bolshevik. What I'm saying is they were switching from a monarchy, though. So
yeah,
he's saying that the monarchy was black people.
I think he's saying that this is long before even the monarchy, although it's weird, right? Because he's saying Stalin was able to eliminate this massive population of black people, but like Stalin doesn't date back that far.
That's
right?
what I'm
like,
saying.
We would have had some kind of record
is just now
of black people before this, and there isn't like anybody. But his argument, and I remember seeing this in one of the conversations, is that white people have become so effective at sort of like rewriting history and sort of like creating misinformation inside of their literatures that we don't remember things that are actually real.
I mean, but this is long enough that this would be people's great grandmas, right? Like there would be.
There's an argument to say that it would be your literal grandparents, not even your great grandparents.
So this is stupid. I gotta. Come on, man.
I love that. He also argues,
this is fucking dumb.
In relation to sort of this same idea, he argues that the allegory of St. Patrick running the snakes out of Ireland actually refers to the quote unquote snake people, the black folks who were run out of Ireland. And the Riverdance is a black dance as well, is what he says.
That is the only part of this that I can get behind.
Whoa.
You think Michael Flatley invented that?
So you're saying black people came up with Riverdance and white people just made it whatever version it is now.
Yeah, see, now I'm back on board with the maybe black. It's so hard to eradicate an entire race from like that. Like you can't kill all of any like to think that there wouldn't be ones that got away and told the story of what truly happened is like that's like not a very smart way to think.
You know what else occurs to me is I think we would have a lot of trouble killing off another race because we still really like fucking each other.
We love fucking each other.
Yeah, like if at any point we start to want to mass murder an entire race of people, we go, yeah, but not the bad bitches, not the thick ones. Don't kill the thick ladies.
And there's please, Lord. every night when I say my prayers. As I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord the thick to keep.
And if I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord the thick don't take.
Yeah. Just make that big old booty shake. Amen. If you ever wanted a clip of what we do on this podcast,
I think that's the most accurate one.
I think that was really what we're up to at most times.
That's sort of our cover letter. That's how we introduce ourselves.
But no, yeah, I think that this is stupid. This one's stupid. So I want to be with Bobby Hemmitt, but sometimes it's like, this is so dumb. You can't.
Yeah,
there's not a lot to fight for here.
Yeah,
it feels like he just picked some random countries, right?
I do feel that and felt that while I was watching that, like, I get what the goal is, right? The goal is ultimately to say that our histories have been stolen from us, that, like, there's a lot we will never be able to fully know about our existence, about, like, what we come from and the power that we used to have in the world. I get that on a principle level, but then when you start to introduce fucking Ireland and Bosnia as like the home of where black people were born, it starts to feel like, all right, bro, you're just throwing darts right now, and I don't love that vibe.
It also feels to me like this very. I think we come across this a lot when we're talking about all these fucking black conspiracy theories. I feel like we come across this thing where it's like it becomes very Eurocentric again, where it's this idea that being from Europe is inherently better, so that black people, there must be a possibility of being from these places as opposed to Africa's great, and maybe we just have a history that's lost. It's this rejection of Africa again. I think that is like so deep at the core of why is the want so bad for us to have a different ancestral homeland?
Yeah, I think if you were to present that argument to Bobby Hemmitt, he would say that it is not, that it's about not connecting to Africa as much as it is saying our reach was broader than just Africa. That, like, we
do you understand
everywhere.
How big Africa is, even compared to those 4 countries he named? Like, it's like this. That's what I mean. That's my issue. Is like, if you're all of Africa, you're a majority of the world.
Yeah, it's the biggest continent in the world.
So it's this thing where it's like, no, there's not more Asians. No, there's goddamn sure not more Europeans. This is where everything, like, it's a giant space. You know what I mean? Controlling Africa's controlling a major part of the world.
And to that point, I've read this a few times that, like, even on like global maps, they have to shrink Africa down to make it look less intimidating, quote unquote, or sort of like all consuming as it actually would be if we were looking at it from space or whatever the fuck it is.
Exactly. So it's like it's just this great disconnect. It's also like fertile. It's a very rich, like physically very rich place. Like, it's like all these things aren't terrible things. It's been fucked up for the past couple hundred years, but like, don't like take that into like consideration of it was never this. I don't know. It's very anti-African.
There were arguments he had before this where he sort of suggested, and we talked about this actually yesterday in the live stream. This is where I got that from, where he suggested that some of the histories of the world are secretly African born, and then white people move them to different locations. He says that part of like the argument for like the original Hebrews being black was that they are born. The real story is of people that are African, and then that eventually through history gets moved to Israel to make us believe that it is white people's history instead of Black people's history. And so that, while I don't necessarily agree with it, at least feels like it's rooted in what you're arguing for, which is like a pride in African richness. Whereas this one feels like, I don't know, man, we also are Antarctic and
you can't
Icelandic.
For Black people to be great doesn't mean they have to have a part of everything that's great in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that becomes the issue with seeing our people as a monolith. I think that becomes this issue of also viewing white people as a monolith, where you're like, this is all white people, so this all must be the same shit, and they all can tap into a part of that. And that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. We do not have to own everything to own the best things, or to be able to have pride in our ownership.
Right, and the ownership of the best things is not necessarily. I don't think you're allowed to consider it. You can't look at white people as just white people if you're looking at it in that manner. You do have to look at each countries and histories of places and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The British have all that shit and plundered all that shit. The Irish didn't. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you look at white people as a monolith like that, you take that away, and then I understand why it becomes this giant thing you feel the need to tap into for supremacy.
And I also think
it's kind of confused.
Some of that, it seems like he's trying to take advantage of exactly what you're saying, where he's like, these are also people who were abused and taken advantage of by the crown, by the British sort of monarchy, and therefore the idea that they were wiped out, quote unquote, kind of is an easier hiding place than if you say it for fucking England or Spain or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like those places are a little more like, apparently we know their history to be documented a very clear, more specific way.
Exactly. So I get where you're coming from, but can't get with this one, Hemet. I wanted it.
Well, Bobby Hemmitt, we know you're a regular listener to the pod.
Yeah, next time. You will get me next time.
We're not mad at you, big dog.
No. I still love you.
We like what you're doing, and we want you to keep it up. But it's a no for us this time.
I think we did it.
I think we did it too. You want to tell the people where they can find you and what cool shit you have going on?
Cool Guy Jokes 87 on Instagram. You can find me June 18th headlining the DC Improv with my man Jamel Johnson, and new fall dates to come.
And yeah, follow me at Langston Kerman on Instagram. And June 23rd and 24th, I will be in Utah at the Wise Guys in West Jordan. And then I'll be at the Punchline Philly in July 6th through the 8th. And then finally, July 28th and 29th, I will be in Wilmington, North Carolina at Dead Crow. I would love to see you all there. A bunch of y'all have been coming out to the live shows, and I get to say hi sometimes, and that's nice. It's a cool vibe.
It is great. It is great when you guys come out.
Yeah. And sometimes I don't get to say hi, and I'm sorry about that. I don't.
Sometimes my battery's drained, and honestly, I'm hiding in the green room like a little bitch.
Yeah, sometimes the anxiety takes over, and I don't get to hug and kiss on y'all, and please forgive me, but also, you get it.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
It'd be like that sometimes. And that said, if you like what you're hearing and you want to see us, go to the YouTube page and subscribe and watch the videos, and then leave comments. I don't know. And finally, if you want us to send us your own conspiracy theories, if you want to send us your drops, if you have Bobby Hemmitt information that you feel necessary to share with us, please send it all to mymommapod at gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, Irishman. You original Irishman. Send it all, and that's it. Bye, bitch.
Motherfucking mini episode. Motherfucking mini episode. Motherfucking mini episode. motherfucking mini episode.